But medium age is like 25 years old. And that's probably your age as well, AJ, by the look of it.
That's a bit younger. You're very kind, David.
You're welcome.
Something like that.
Maybe add 10 years.
Good day, everyone. Good day, mobilers. Steve and AJ, how are you going?
Good. Hey, everyone. This is AJ.
Hi. Hello.
So as promised, we've got AJ with us now for the podcast. Steve, tell us more about AJ.
Yeah, so AJ, I mentioned last time she was more than a friend, and that's because she's my cousin. Hey, cuz.
Hey.
And yeah, so AJ is, she's been a singer, actor. She's been a bit of a fitness fanatic, a personal trainer. And she's also now a qualified counsellor and practicing in the mental health space. And AJ, tell everybody a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So, firstly, thank you for having me. Yes, I am based in Victoria, and I am a Jack or Jill of many trades, worn very many hats. And yeah, I've been chatting with Steve a little bit and about World Mobile. I really don't know much about it. And it just so happened to be that I had a bit more time on my hands this year. And yeah, here I am.
So that's what really is interesting, is that you do not know much or at all about World Mobile. And the aim of this podcast is to obviously educate people, but also to learn together, to discover, to talk about, what's happening, the mission and so forth. So I really look forward to, I guess, to see your journey, to see you develop as a mobiler and everything and anything that, you'll pick up along the way. And that our audience, I guess, is also going to leverage of those conversations. So welcome. And it's also the very first time I get to meet you, AJ. So welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with sort of how this came about. So basically, when I saw this deal go through with World Mobile and the Philippines, a telco in the Philippines called Ditto, I think, DITO. So they've signed a deal, AJ, with this telco to onboard their customers, which is about 13 million people in the Philippines, onto the World Mobile chain. So this is the blockchain part of World Mobile. And so I don't know exactly what that integration is going to look like yet, but so their users will be coming onto that chain. As well as the idea to expand and use the World Mobile system to help Ditto and others, I think, expand into the Philippines and connect more people. So when I saw this deal go through, I thought, that's somewhere I'd like to get involved in because it's closer to Australia. It's a little easier for us to sort of travel there, and time zone wise and everything else. I just think it's sort of a bit more of a better opportunity for me to get involved into sort of the air node and the network infrastructure itself. And so then I thought of my cousin AJ, who has family connections in the Philippines, and I thought maybe she'd like to get involved. And then I thought, well, this is maybe it's best to discuss this with her and bring her into the podcast, and this will make for some interesting content for everybody.
That's it, because AJ, you're half Filipino, half Australian, as I understand.
Yeah, that's right. So my mum's from the Philippines and my dad's Australian.
Okay, so you've spent a little bit of time in the Philippines?
Yeah, I have throughout a lot of my youth mainly. I've gone there a handful of times, and sometimes as short as 2 weeks and sometimes as long as a few months.
So you'd have a bit of a a bit of an understanding of the state of affairs there in Philippines when it comes to access to the internet and how people live their day in day out. Is there something that really stands out to you? So, if we talk, mobile phone reception, internet access, what comes to mind when it comes to the Philippines?
Yeah, sure. So I've spent time in the cities in the Philippines and also in the provinces. So that's out in the country. So in both areas, both the city and the provinces, the internet hasn't been the greatest. Definitely struggled at my mum's place in Davao. She has some property there. And particularly communicating with her while she's over there and I'm in Australia has been quite difficult and quite limited. So yeah, it's pretty inconsistent. When I travel over there, I get when I last went, I'd get that physical SIM, and it was okay, but not really comparable to here.
Yeah, not comparable to what we enjoy here in Australia, even though it's not the best, but still, we are very lucky, and we should be very grateful for having that internet connection. And this is exactly, I think, what World Mobile is here for. I think is just to get to those places that are very hard to reach. And I know the Philippines, I mean, the landscape is like a huge amount of islands. I was looking at it, there's 7,641 islands. So that's a terrain that's so difficult, I think, to reach, and then I guess cable through. I'm not sure how you guys do it at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know that the last time I was there, it's a really stark contrast when you go out into the country versus the city as far as the amount of infrastructure that's there. A lot of the roads are still your dirt roads, and it's kind of like going back in time a bit, which is kind of nice. Like, I must admit, it feels like a retreat in a way from modern life. But it is quite different.
Yeah, it's going back in time. But I think, Steve, I was telling you, I'll just put together a couple statistics here, and I think that will surprise all of us.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, maybe including you, AJ. Let's have a look at this. You have like 81 million active users on mobile money applications. I don't know if you know your Gcash or Paymaya.
No idea. What is that?
That will be your local money transfer applications, mobile
okay.
money transfer application. And Steve, I think World Mobile is going to embed this on the World Mobile chain, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if Ditto has something that they're sort of integrating. I think I remember something along that line. But yeah, it's quite common in sort of underdeveloped regions where people end up using mobile phones to, be sort of ATMs, if you like, and to transfer value between each other, just because, they can't have the same sort of infrastructure that we might have in Australia. So, yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And so, AJ, as I was saying, 7,641 islands, that would be a nightmare to connect. But thank God we've got this. Not sure if you know what it is, AJ. We'll talk to you about aerostats maybe in one of those episodes. But I reckon that's going to be a great solution.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what World Mobile does to, bridge the gap to these islands. Whether it's sort of maybe they're doing some laser stuff, or whether it's aerostats, or whether it's just undersea cables, or what the plan is there. Will be interesting to see. And
then what else we got here? Population-wise, 116 million people, -1 because you're over here in Australia. But medium age is like 25 years old. And that's probably your age as well, AJ, by the look of it.
That's a bit younger. You're very kind, David.
You're welcome.
Something like that.
Maybe add 10 years.
But nevertheless, very young population. And I think, how could you have a young population if they're not connecting because, like the stats are showing here, 28 million people lack reliable internet connection. So for context, Australia is 20, I think, well, just on 26, 27 million.
Yeah.
So that's more than the Australian population there, 1 in 4. So there's a massive need. And knowing that 70% of the people actually access the internet through their phone, they're transacting like $63 billion of value over the internet. So there's a massive gap here to address.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like, why? Why is it in this sort of state, David? And I think for the main part, it seems to be that it hasn't been profitable to sort of connect these areas in the way that your typical telcos operate. And that's where, well, mobile is sort of bringing a difference in the way we can do that.
Indeed. But I was just doing a bit of research, and I found out that this year, the president in the Philippines is pushing really hard on a legislation called, pardon my Tagalog, is like Konektadong Pinoy, which means, I think, connecting Philippines.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. And that's supposed to simplify licensing, infrastructure sharing, spectrum as well. So I think the government is taking the right steps, hence actually, World Mobile's ability to go into that country, because there is a big push from the government. They understood what the problem is, and they're there to rectify it by actually putting legislations in place. I found out there's a World Bank approved $290 million to go towards trying to connect more people in the Philippines too. So it's a big issue there.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for me to imagine because, I mean, when the internet came along, I was pretty young, and so I've pretty much been well connected for the bulk of my life. So to be a young person in the Philippines, or to be any person in the Philippines really, and not have access to that sort of thing, especially with what's happening nowadays with AI, the power that just leverages of your own personal output and stuff. Education, I've been able to access so much information and stuff using the internet. It's crazy. And what that can bring to a community that is doesn't have that connection would be a massive impact. Yeah, and keeping in touch with friends and relatives and all sorts of things that I think Mr. T is right. I think this is a human right, and we have the technology to connect everybody, and so we should. Whether or not people want to participate, that's up to them, but at least they should have the option.
Yeah, Jay, how do you feel about that?
Oh, definitely. Like I've reflected a bit on just my experiences of uni and just how reliant I've been with the internet access there, and just even in my day to day, I'm very passionate about learning. It's one of the things that I try and continually do most days, if not every other day. And so to have that limited, I'd say that's a really big disadvantage and gap.
Have you seen a big need for the education in more remote areas of Philippines? Is that something you've seen is lacking?
Well, it's been a little while since I've been there, but I can just share the story of, I guess, what I've experienced there and what my mum has experienced there, I suppose. Her journey was basically, going to school in the provinces and then having to go at a fairly young age into the cities to get better education. So I'm not sure what it's like at the moment, but I imagine
so leaving behind family and stuff to go to the city to...
Yeah. She had to actually stay with her relatives, so her aunt and uncle. So actually, I imagine
so she was lucky
quite...
then.
Yeah, I imagine it was really quite stressful for my mum. She wouldn't admit that, I don't think. But, being quite a proud woman. But, yeah, it was a pretty big uprooting to go live with her aunt and uncles to continue her education. And she did She went to, I think she went to secondary school in the city, and then she went to university in Davao.
But something like, not having access to the internet where she could have studied remotely from her city, for example. Or I don't know, I would imagine with so many islands, people would have just to travel by boat and just to get to the nearest school even or university.
Into many of these islands, AJ, or did you mostly stick on the mainland in your travels?
I've traveled a little bit. I have gone to some of the islands. I've mainly been to Davao, Cebu, and Manila. And when I went to Davao and Manila, I went to a couple of the islands nearby. Yeah, and it was just this small boat, small wooden boat to get across. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure at some point we'll get around to trekking over there and travelling around, and that'd be something I look forward to doing with you, AJ.
Yeah, that would be
Check
amazing.
out maybe if we get into sort of investing and expanding the network in the Philippines, being a part of that would be cool.
Let's bring those air nodes on those wooden boats.
I just want to add, I recently did some emergency response training, and I'd volunteered to be part of the emergency response team. And they talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is something we reference in psychology and counseling as well. So you have shelter, you've got food, you've got social connection, you've got then access to education, and then further up into self-actualization, where you're really able to thrive, etc. And they'd actually referenced at the bottom, before shelter, Wi-Fi, just because of how dependent we are with coordinating.
Wow. So, and the bottom is like the bottom of the pyramid. So like more foundationally important than shelter is Wi-Fi.
Yeah, just because that's one of the things that has really impacted in emergencies, being able to actually communicate with people and coordinate responses.
We should share with you, AJ, a little clip about Well Mobile, actually. During an emergency, it was a hurricane, and Well Mobile was actually right on there, came with a helicopter and managed to actually connect people back to the internet, and that was highly critical to actually organize the emergency services just for those services to connect people back on. So definitely the need for connectivity is just right at the bottom of that pyramid. Yeah.
So maybe that's a good point to sort of break this off and say, look, why don't we get AJ to watch that clip before we shoot the next episode. And that sort of gives her a little bit about how, and we can go into some more details and start to talk a bit more about how World Mobile works. And
Righto. So thanks a lot. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
look
guys.
forward, to the next episodes.
Sounds good.
Until then,
see you later.
take care. See ya.